Mena Warriors, welcome back to my channel and wishing you an early Merry Christmas. Now, today I'm actually going to be talking about if you're spending Christmas alone, if you're feeling lonely, that sort of sense of isolation that can creep upon you, if indeed you don't have your friends and loved ones around you. Especially at this time of the year when we've got little sunshine, it's cold, it's a bit gloomy. Heating prices keep going up. It's just a bit dismal out there. And I think that can really compound how you feel over the Christmas period, particularly if you are by yourself. Now, I am a seasoned pro at this, and I want to give you some of my top tips because as a single parent, I shared Christmas with my ex-husband. And when the children were really little, we used to have Christmas together. But when they were a little bit bigger, sort of 8 to 10 years upwards, they had a series of Christmas with their dad because actually we really enjoyed our later Christmas day. So we used to have our Christmas day on the 29th. I think if you're in that situation, it doesn't matter if you don't have them on Christmas Day. Make your own Christmas Day up. It really does not matter when you celebrate it. And if that is the case, you get the chance to have your own special Christmas by yourself on the actual Christmas Day. If you're in that situation, that is how I would approach that. But also really tune into other people's happiness on that Christmas Day. When that used to happen to me, obviously I'd talk to my children in the morning, and then I would take the dogs out for a nice long walk, and I could hear the laughter coming from other houses. I could hear music coming from other houses. Sometimes I could smell delicious cooking coming from other houses, and that really filled me with a sense of joy because Christmas Day is probably the one day of the year when families do tend to get together. We all make that special effort to travel, to be with our families. And there is something quite magical about it. And regardless of the fact that I didn't have my children with me, I really sort of tuned into that energy of people being surrounded with love. And that's something I really recommend that you do too, because it's all out there. The energy on Christmas Day is different. There's something special about Christmas Day. You might be working in an office. I've done a few Christmas days like that. But again, it was quite special because the ones of us in the office we had that Christmas energy about us again. So while it can be a bit of a pain, if you desperately wanted to be at home and you can't be, there are two ways of looking at it. It's either accept the situation that you're in right now, make the most of it, or you pretty much shoot yourself in the foot because you are not enjoying Christmas Day to the full, given the circumstances that you find yourself in. Next is if you are facing Christmas alone and you have nobody, you have no pets, and you are feeling really low and depressed, go out and buy yourself a special Christmas meal, whatever that is, however that looks for you. I always used to get myself a nice bottle of wine. I used to make myself a nice Christmas meal. It didn't have to be a traditional meal. It was just something that I felt like and enjoyed. Sometimes I would put, like, if I could find a good Christmas film, I'd watch that. Quite often the television's absolutely rubbish, and so I'd often end up watching something I'd got on a DVD, but it was Christmas related. Spend a day doing the things that light you up and have the day relaxing if you're able to. I always used to start my day off with a workout because it sets you up positively. It's great for your mental health. And then normally I would probably have a glass of bubbly and maybe a little bit of orange juice in that just to water it down, given it was still the morning. But that is how I had my Christmas day, and I really enjoyed it. It's the one day of year I tend not to do any proper work at all on my businesses. And it was a real pleasure just to relax and just tune into other people's energies around that Christmas day. The other thing you might consider doing is if you're in a community, you could find other people who are also alone. If you have a community Facebook page, you could always arrange to gather up and meet in a local pub. Pubs are always open on Christmas Day, and just get together with each other for an hour or so, because I bet there are a lot of people who are at home alone too. So it might be that you could put something on your community Facebook group and just ask, is anybody else out there who's going to be alone this Christmas in this location? How about we meet at the such and such a pub at 12 o'clock and share some cheer together? And the people that see that and ask other people to share it with their loved ones who are in that area, they will get so much benefit and pleasure from that somebody's taken the initiative to put a little group together, even if it's just two of you, it doesn't matter. It often just takes the one person to be brave and say and put that post out there and see if anybody replies. If they don't, it doesn't matter. But if they do, it could be a really nice beginning of new friendships that you've not yet met. The other thing I would suggest you do is, if you live anywhere where you can go out and do a nice walk, go off hiking for the day. Pack yourself a picnic and get outside and go and enjoy it. That's exactly what I did on New Year's Day this last year. Had nobody with me, so I set off with the dogs up the mountains and we had a lovely, lovely long walk. I got back home, I got myself a nice meal ready, and yes, I didn't have anyone around me. It didn't matter. I think it's so important that we have this mindset where we nurture ourselves for the day without feeling sad or lonely, because that serves no purpose at all. I don't believe in suppressing our emotions, but I do believe in doing the best that we can, because it serves no purpose otherwise. The only thing that will happen is that you spend Christmas Day or New Year's Day alone feeling sad. Whereas you could spend Christmas Day or New Year's Day alone and actually making the most of it and tuning in to that sort of universal Christmas energy. Put on some Christmas music. It's the one thing about grocery shopping at this time of year that I actually enjoy, is that you go in and the music's playing, and there is something about listening to music that naturally lightens your mood. It lifts the spirits. And also there is that sense of other people around you who are doing their shopping, getting ready for that Christmas period, whether it's cooking their own Christmas meal or preparing a meal for many. It does not matter. Reach out to your community if you're feeling alone and you don't want to be alone on Christmas Day. Set yourself a plan. Move your body. If you're well enough to get a workout in, move your body. It will help boost your feel-good hormones. Choose a good film that you love, or 2 or 3 of your favorite Christmas films. Put some Christmas music on. Maybe bake yourself some mince pies and tune into that universal Christmas energy. And if you have a faith, go to your local establishment. There will be other people there, I'm sure, who are also maybe feeling lonely, who want to tune into their faith. But I'm also a great believer that you bring your faith home. Your faith resides inside your heart. You don't have to go to a building in order to express your faith. So if faith is something that's near and dear to your heart, spend the day wrapped in that faith. It's very easy to get wrapped up in the merchandise and the marketing and the so muchness of Christmas. But when we strip it all back, essentially it's about being with loved ones, it's about cherishing ourselves, it's about having a day, probably out and reflecting a little more than we normally do, and cherishing a few moments for yourself. So I wish you the very merriest of Christmases or festive seasons. Thank you so much for your company, and I look forward to chatting with you again next week.